Would I want to live in an atheist-only city, state, or country? I don't think I would. I don't think I'd want to live in a place where everyone around me was automatically an atheist, even though I kind of fight for that. I kind of advocate for that to happen. I hope people watching these videos will, somehow become atheists. And at the same time, I think it would be totally weird if I lived in a world where everyone was an atheist. And I think part of that is because a big part of my identity now is as an atheist. Any person who's part of any sort of minority group, you kind of cling to that and you like that because it makes you stronger. You are something that no one else is. And I heard Greta Christina say this about the LGBT community for a while, that, if you're gay, you know what it's like to be gay, and you can sympathize with other people who are going through those same emotions and they have to deal with the same obstacles. And so, for someone who's gay, it's probably a big part of their identity. And one of the questions that I remember her asking is, well, what happens when, LGBT issues, what happens when a gay or lesbian identity goes mainstream? What happens when no one cares that you're gay or lesbian or bi or transgendered? What happens to your identity? You have to find other things that make you who you are. And I think that's an important question we have to ask ourselves. And I know that right now, I can be an atheist and I can talk or write about atheism, and it really does make me stand out in that way. And it makes me who I am. Like, if you ask me, tell me about yourself, being an atheist is probably high up on that list, as silly as that might be. But it is a big part of who I am. And if you took that away from me, if I was surrounded by people who heard I was an atheist and went, yeah, so what, me too, then okay, well, then I guess I'd have to find a different way to kind of describe myself. And that's a thought I've never really considered that much. Because in America, in the place where I live, which is predominantly a conservative area, that's not something I ever realistically have to worry about. But it is weird to me that as much as I fight and advocate for everyone to lose their faith in God and have faith in themselves, I don't think I would want to live in a world where everyone was an atheist. And by the way, it is important to note that just because you're an atheist, you would think that, if you live in a world where everyone's an atheist, a lot of problems would go away. And maybe that's true. Maybe some of the religious strife we have and some of the religious reasons we have for, blocking things like access to abortions, things like that. Maybe some of that would go away. But I think there would probably be a whole host of other problems. I mean, we know there are atheists out there who say and do stupid things just as much as we love picking on religious people who say and do stupid things. So, even if religion was out of the picture, it's not like there'd be any shortage of conversations, any shortage of disagreements and debates. We'd have plenty to argue about, just not about God. My name is Hemant Mehta, and I write at friendlyatheist.com. Please leave your comments below.